Hello, welcome back to my channel. So you can call me naive, but I thought for sure that Paul could not be making this whole thing up. I thought there's no way this could be a hoax, especially everything that just went on recently with little Tay and Josh Sider. But now as more evidence is starting to come out, that's starting to be what it's looking like. So first of all, this girl that Karini sent everyone to and said, oh, ask her about Paul, she'll be the one to know. She made her Instagram private. So at first, her page was public, but once Paul went missing, she went private and she gained over 13,000 followers alone just because of all this. Then when Paul suddenly reappeared and she posted a picture of him, he didn't look like he had been stranded and going through it. Like, he made it sound out to his mother like it's this emergency situation where he was starving in the woods, stranded. And so Paul, when he does finally speak out on Instagram, and this is after he was finally called out because he's supposed to be missing, his phone's supposed to be off, but he was constantly making his page back from public to private to public to private and accepting friend requests. So then he doesn't address him missing, but he decides to address the girl that Karini told to talk to for information. He said, to clarify, I'm not romantically involved with Tiz. I think that's her nickname. And he says, in any way, she's engaged to marry. And then he tags somebody, her fiance/boyfriend. I see and I talk to her and her family every day. And her family help me out a lot. I'm very close to her mother and her mother's sister. So he doesn't even address anything at all about him being missing, about Karini suggesting he passed away. And then he went on TMZ, and after I saw his TMZ interview, I was like, man, this boy is a fraud. So he went on TMZ and he says that he never went missing in the Amazon despite his family thinking he was. So he explained to TMZ that he's been living by himself in this area in Brazil, and he decided to go out on a boat with somebody that he met online who is a big fan of him on the show. So he decides to go meet up with this person for the first time. They get on this boat and they decide to go head to this island, but he said on the way to the island, all of a sudden they started having issues with the boat. And Paul started freaking out, he claims, because he said the dude suddenly disappeared, so he thought the dude had just left him by himself to defend for himself and left him stranded. And Paul said that's when he decided to start texting his mom. And he said, well, I'm not the one who told my mom to release those text messages that John Yates got. He said, I thought those conversations were just going to stay between me and my mom. So Paul said that as a way to defend why he told his mom that. And he said that his friend eventually came back and his phone was dead, so he couldn't update his mom with anything. And when she kept trying to blow him up later in the night and the next morning and he wasn't answering, she grew even more and more concerned. So he says his friend came back, they were able to fix the boat, and they resumed on their journey. They ended up pulling up to this floating house in their boat, and he ended up staying there for a few days. And he said he didn't have a phone charger and he had really bad cell phone service there, so he wasn't able to call his family and friends. And because of that, that's why his mom grew so concerned, because she couldn't talk to him. And the next thing you know, Karini's suggesting that he passed away. But here's the thing, TMZ pressed him in this interview. They're like, why did you wait so long to finally come out, and why have you addressed it yet? And he's like, well, I don't want to add fuel to the fire. I'm like, fuel to the fire? People out here thought you were dead, man. You can come out and clear up the fact that you're not dating this girl, you're just friends with her, but you can't clear up the fact that you're not dead and that you're safe? I don't understand it, but you're clearing it up with TMZ, and that just seems like a total clout move in my opinion. So he said that, I was not missing, my family just thought the worst, and he said that he didn't feel like any sense of urgency to come out and say anything. Like, he doesn't show real concern for what everyone went through when they found out that he was possibly dead, and he kind of just takes all the blame off him. Like, I had no idea that my mom was going to share those text messages. It was just supposed to be between me and my mom. But it's like, man, then you should have fixed that as soon as possible. There's a interview that Josh Sider did right after he did his little hoax that he claims he got hacked. I don't believe one bit. But this interview that Josh did, I can't remember who it was with, it looked exactly, he sounded exactly the same as Paul did in this TMZ interview. And then John Yates, he actually noticed something, and he knows a lot of people who are close to Paul, and he said that Paul and Karine yesterday had a court hearing, and it was their last court hearing to see if they could get custody of their son. So, like, after this court hearing, it is for sure they're not going to get custody. This is their last chance. And Paul was in Brazil, and he didn't have any intention on making it. So as soon as John heard that, it kind of clicked in his head. He didn't have any evidence concrete to say this is exactly what Paul was doing, but he has a pretty good assumption. He thinks that Paul did this elaborate hoax and was in on it with Karine and this other girl as for a way for them to get clout, and also as an excuse for Paul to be like, hey, he's missing, so he's not able to show up at the court hearing, so he doesn't look bad showing up to fight for his sons one last time. It's just when people are out here doing stuff like this, it takes away from when it really does happen to real people. Like when Asante happened, a lot of people second guessed it at first because of all the hoaxes we had lately, and that's just not right to take away from real tragedy that's actually happening for your little clout grab. And like I said, I don't 100% know for sure if that's the case, but from what I'm hearing, that's kind of pretty much what it's giving, in my opinion. I still just have so many questions. And what is Paul even doing in Brazil? I guess someone was saying he said it's cheaper to live over there, which I'm sure it is. But how is he even getting by? Is he still literally living off his OF and Cameo money? Because, I would not think that he'd be able to make a really good living off that, because he hasn't really been that relevant for a while. But this is probably his last stab at some relevancy. But that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Check out my lashes and lash products at AccordingtoAmber.com. You can sign up for my newsletter and get 10% off your first order. And you can also get this bundle deal with 3 lashes and a lash applicator for $25 right now. But that's it for this video. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.